Welcome to the Big Bad Bruins Banta episode 14. And we are here with our off-season episode special extravaganza, if you want to call it whatever you want. And we have our good friend, Shannon Walsh from Slapshot Sweethearts. I just like saying that with the Boston accent. Welcome, Shannon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, keep the streak alive, I'm doing good. We're hoping for a full season here in October. Fingers crossed. And you can't say this off season was boring. There's so much going on with the bees. So at this time, I think we want to go with the Q&A because we asked Big Bad Bruins Nation, Ask Papa Bruin, Ask Shannon, and most of the questions that we cover, we're going to talk about anyway. So I think we do that. It's a new season. We can do what we want and see how that works. And I'll just kind of do it in rapid fire succession. And we'll see. And then we'll go back to our agenda, and whatever we didn't hit, we will. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right, here we go. See, Matt Pellis asked us, do you think Bruins will bring back Char for one-day contract so he can retire and be a Hall of Famer in black and gold? I would say, of course. What do you think? I think that's going to happen.
I mean, I think, yes, I'm a little surprised I haven't heard anything about what his plans are, I don't really think he's going to play again, but he hasn't made a retirement announcement either. So I don't know what the holdup is.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to be someone that's going to be part of the organization. Just like, I love how they just, hired Chris Kelly and McQuaid. I hope McQuaid starts growing the lettuce in the back again, because we need that. But I just like how they're bringing former players, especially from that group that won in 11. I think it's very important to have coaches that won something. I think that, not saying that Cassie doesn't get respect, but guys who have played get probably a little bit more, right? So yeah, that's going to absolutely happen. Kathy Morin asked us, what are the chances the Bruins win the Stanley Cup? And of course, Wayne Funk said 0, but I don't think it's 0. With everything that's gone on, I think, I don't know if they're as good as they were last year. I think they might be a notch or two. Losing Krejci and losing Rask, you hate them, you love them, is going to have an effect on them. I mean, let's be honest. But I think they're going to be a contender. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think, the division is back to what it was before. So you got Tampa and Florida now, that's better. Toronto, Montreal, probably a little bit better now. So I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't know how much noise they're going to make. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I would love to see one more move. I didn't love one or two of the signings they made, and they still have DeBrusk on the roster, which is frustrating.
Why?
And obviously they lost Krejci, which is a problem. But again, you said it, they're going back to the original divisions. The Atlantic Division is by far the most difficult in the league. So, they drop a few games here and there. That's going to be a problem for them when they've got the two teams that were in the Cup final, and then the
Florida's better.
Panthers and Toronto. So, they've got problems if they can't get their shit together early on.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. The Panthers are stocking up. Tampa's Tampa. I know they lost some guys, but they're going to be there. We know that. In Montreal, you're going to get a little bit of a boost. You made it to the Cup final. Let's be honest. I still can't believe Carey Price was unprotected, but that's another story. I don't know how that even happened, but I know because of his contract. Here's a good question. We just kind of alluded to this just now. I'm going to say bye to all the people on Facebook Live. You know where to find us on Anchor as well as YouTube. So talk to you later. Be safe. Be good. What's your favorite move the Bruins made? I'll go first on that one. It's hard to kind of say right now. I do like Foligno. I remember I'm wicked old, Shannon, so I remember when his dad played for Buffalo. And just Google it, Nick Foligno. No, that's it. No, it's his father, right? No. What's his father's name? Oh God, I can't remember his father's name. But he had this weirdest helmet of all time, like an old Jofa helmet. It was insane. So just check him out. But I like Foligno. I remember when we played, Columbus a couple years ago, and he was definitely that kind of guy that led the team. He was there, physical presence and all. I like that. That's more of an old school Bruins kind of player, right? Not saying he's he fits more of the Lucic mold, but with more skill. So I would say that's my favorite move. What would you say yours is?
Yeah, I like Foligno a lot. I like Olmark, actually. I knew that Cassidy was really into him. I think they paid a little bit high for him.
Yes.
Looking at how the goaltending market kind of played out. but he had great numbers in Buffalo for what he was playing with. So I think it's kind of, if it doesn't pay off, they're screwed because again, they paid a little too much for him.
Yeah, it's their host.
But if it does pay off, looking at his numbers last year, I think they got a great goaltender to build up Swayman, but it does put a lot of risk on the future with Rask. So,
well, yeah, exactly. And they made it. I mean, a great point with Olmark there is, look at his record with that dumpster fire of a squad. I mean, that says a lot, actually. You wouldn't think so, but having that many wins, I think he had 9 wins and the team had 14, 15 total for the whole year. So that's pretty damn good. They had to overpay because I don't think they had a choice, really. I mean, they had to let Vladar go because because of going down to Providence and all. They had to trade him. They couldn't do that. Couldn't keep him. Swayman's, let's call it is what it is a rookie. And Tuukka, my gut feeling with him, to be honest with you, the ridicule he gets in the city. Why would you come back? I want him to. I'm a fan, but shit, I wouldn't want to come back. And this, honestly, I mean, is he going to pull a Krejci? Maybe he'll bring his family back to Finland. I don't know. I mean, the United States is a hot mess right now. So let's be honest. You know what I mean? So we'll see what goes on there. And then the other question from Tim. So I got to write these down because someone's gonna get a T-shirt. Hopefully in a more timely fashion than you still haven't got one. But who is your choice for second line center, Shannon?
I don't know. I don't like any of the options. That's why I'm concerned. I was never a praise Krejci type of person. He's just a cog in the machine to me until we lost him. And I was like, shit, because there was no okay, they can just slot in my mind.
Yeah. When they signed Hall, I'm like, layup, here we go. Let's get to second line. We're going to have 2 great lines. And he's like, I honestly think it kind of what I just alluded to, that Krejci, granted, he wants to go back and teach his kids his language, his culture, which that's admirable and absolutely do it. Why not? But also too, do you really want to raise kids here at this time? I love this country, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of bad shit going on. Let's be quite honest. And if you had an opportunity to go to the Czech Republic, not saying that they're, immune from everything in the world, but I would want to bring my kids in a less turbulent society at this time myself. So I think that might be part of it too. I wouldn't rule out him coming back maybe next season.
Don Sweeney left the door open for him to come back. He said we pretty much knew he wanted to spend some time at home, but he didn't officially retire. So
from the league,
and he said Boston, he literally said Boston, you're my home. I'll see you soon. So
right. So I see him. It could be maybe he goes to Czech Republic for a couple of years. Maybe he comes back, plays for a year, or he just comes back to the States. Maybe when the Rona's gone, ish. And comes back and just joins the organization. Right? He's another guy that I think would be joining the organization as well. I mean, he's a leader. Again, I think it's very important to have those guys who have won, who the guys can relate to be on your coaching staff. I mean, as much as I love Jay Pandolfo and the other guys they had, they didn't, they didn't win. I mean, Jay did win with New Jersey. I take that back. But
no, but I mean, if they were on the same roster as some of the guys that are still there, like you said, the 2011 roster, then it sits differently for some of those young guys.
Right.
Trying to come up.
Right. They want to, absolutely want a cup, This is kind of Herbert Heath. Love that name. That's a good politician name. Are the Bruins through trading this season? I would say no, just kind of what you said, because the second line center is a black hole, man. I don't know.
And they have Jake DeBrusk's cap still.
That I don't understand. So just going to the second line center, Stunica, I wanted him to do well and see more. He just didn't show enough to me at all last season. I mean, all these young guys had multiple opportunities and no one really took hold of the situation. I know it was difficult because, Providence was playing in Marlboro and all that crap. I've read about that was kind of tough on the players stuff too. But when they got up here, you're still up here with the NHL squad and you still really couldn't do anything. And you have talent around you. It's not like you're on Buffalo. So I think they have to get someone. I mean, again, Krejci, as much as people, he was inconsistent at times, but he still was who he was. He's an offensive talent, and in the playoffs, he always seems to bring it, right? 11 and 13, they don't get there without him. There's no doubt in my mind. So I don't know. I guess I know the two guys who's beside Foligno, the two other guys they got, they're more third and fourth liners, right? They're not really going to be going up to a second line.
No, a lot of people are excited about Fosick.
Oh, okay.
And then Forbert is a defenseman.
Right. And then they got was it Nizell? No, I'm trying to think. I know the Foligno one and Olmark are the two that I'm excited for. I know they got the other guys for more of a depth thing. Especially Corrali leaving, which I'm not, Corral, I like him, but he didn't bring enough. I mean, last year that fourth line was just a complete black hole, beside who they got.
I feel bad he's going to Columbus. But...
Well, oh yeah, Columbus is gone. Oof, God, they went the wrong way pretty quick, didn't they? What else? Okay, Hunter, another great Hunter Hoyt. Jesus, the double H's. Here we go. How do you think the Bruins will pair up against the Kraken come February 1st? What are your thoughts on the expansion pick with Lausanne? It was funny that I was watching one of the Big Bad Bruins banter from like February, and I was just because it came up on YouTube, and I was saying how Lausanne looked good and all that stuff, and I know how he kind of regressed as the season went on, and the playoffs were bad news for him, but they were so thin at D as it is. And even to lose someone that would be maybe a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10 is a big loss because they just don't have any depth. I mean, what's your take on Lausanne leaving?
I was so unsurprised that they took it. I mean, their two choices were, in my mind, Lausanne or Connor Clifton. Like, they weren't taking Lazar. They weren't taking DeBrusk. Like, it wasn't happening. Even though everyone said, like, I want them to take DeBrusk. It's not happening. They didn't.
No one wants him.
So
Edmonton's not even going to trade for him. His dad's, alma mater there.
I mean, it wasn't surprising to me. I was wildly underwhelmed by how the Kraken built their team with what was available. I played with the cap friendly expansion draft tool for a whole afternoon.
Oh, really?
Seeing what you could actually do. And so when they were leaking all the picks all day, I was like, what are they doing? But I mean, when they signed Philip Grubauer, they made it a little better. They got a guy from St. Louis that made it a little better, but I think they're going to be lukewarm. They're not
going to be like Vegas. They probably won't be competitive right off the bat.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. They might make the playoffs, but again, they're in a soft division. I don't think they're going to go far.
But then you don't see them being like a Vegas was, like right out of the gate, they were already getting to the Stanley Cup final.
No. I mean, I think they had potential to be. They had much more available than Vegas did. But what'll be interesting is seeing who that breakout player is.
Right.
William Karlsson was.
Yes.
During Vegas's draft, but I have no idea who that's going to be because they picked a million prospects.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're going for the long run there. Yeah, I mean, I'll be, again, I love their logo, so that's something. Yeah. And then Seattle and Vancouver are going to have a natural rivalry, which is pretty cool. But welcome to. Hopefully, we won't add any more. I think we're good for a few years there, Gary. Let's not add any more, please. Tim Barasek. How long until the first blame Tuukka post happens? Want to make a board and sell squares. So I asked, there's a guy in our Facebook community called Ryan Richard, who's the biggest Tuukka hater of all time. Like, I always compare him to the Joker and I'm Batman. Like, I need him to exist. It's kind of one of those things we need. Well, what are these haters going to do when he's not here until January? Like, if Omar and Swayman shit the bed, which I don't think Swayman's going to, but Omar could suck, right? Who knows? Are they going to be blaming Tuukka for getting hurt and getting surgery? I mean, it's just, what do you think? I think the narrative always changes on him by the second.
I mean, I think the narrative could be if the Bruins suck, they had the potential not to suck if Tuukka didn't play when he was hurt in the playoffs. If you really want to make a stretch.
Oh, I know. I still can't. Yeah. Well, it's kind of a catch-22. You remember that game versus Ottawa so many years ago when he had the RIA and he couldn't play and they were all over him and he sucked. Now he comes back, he mans up, he plays through injuries, and he's still getting ridiculed. The guy can't win. Let's be quite honest. There's no winning for him. That's not a reason why I'd be like, dude, just pack your shit up and go home. I wouldn't even fucking come back. This city is just, I don't understand why certain plays get picked on when it's not like he's going back in the memory. Blaine Locker, if you probably don't remember him, but he was great. He came out of I think St. Cloud State or wherever the hell he came from. He thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then he fell off the earth after the one of the strike years. So be happy you had one of the best goalies in the league for the last goddamn 10 years. I mean, be thankful. But that's me, old guy, just saying, just enjoy it, Andy Hazel. God, these are all H's in the last name. You could sit on the bench during a Bruins Stanley Cup game or see your son score his first goal. Can you only, this is probably for me, you don't have any children. That I know of, right? No children yet.
I don't have children, no.
Okay. If you have a nephew or something like that, you can only choose one. What's your choice? You can sit on the bench during a Bruins Stanley Cup game or see your son score his first goal. Well, I would have to, my son, of course. So my son opted out last year of hockey. We opted him out, right? Because what's going on. and he's finally playing this year. Fingers crossed. And I can't wait for him to play. I mean, I'm still nervous because again, my son's not vaccinated, stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm really excited for him to play. I'm gonna be one of those, under my mask, I'll be crying a little bit probably when he scores his first goal and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't wait for him to play. My wife's already said, I handle soccer, you handle hockey, because hockey, how early practices are and everything. I got no problem getting up in the morning. Another story. But anyway, I cannot wait. He's wearing number 37 after Bergeron. He wanted Marshy, but he was gone. But this is not a bad backup, right? Having Bergeron. So I was going to ask him to join us for a few segments, but of course he has to watch, Minecraft on YouTube for all morning. So that's his thing on a rainy day. Yeah, of course. So Andy, that was a great question. I would have to go with my son, of course, all day, all night, all day. Let's write that down because that's a good one. Craig McDonald, if a Bruin were to appear in an upcoming superhero movie, some of these are great. Who would it be and what superhero could they play? I'm gonna give that one to you. I don't know if you're an Avengers person or.
I'm not a superhero person, but it depends on if you want a hero or a villain.
Well, go any route you want to go on this question. It's a great question. So go any route you want to go.
Like Brad Marchand, for me.
I was thinking of that too. Right.
Would be a fine superhero, but he would be that one that irritates everyone, like Iron Man or something. Like
Robert the arrogance. Jr. Yes.
Yeah, like Robert Downey Jr. pisses everyone off all the time.
Yeah.
But he's still a superhero.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great one. Wow. I mean, I was thinking him right away too. You kind of took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I would think.
Because Bergeron could be like a Superman, like a boring, nice leader, but it wouldn't have the personality that like.
You said you're not a big superhero person. You nailed both of those guys.
Well.
Pastrnak would be like the guy that I don't know. I'm trying to think which one. Like just kind of the goofball. Like he's just coming in with the weird suits and stuff like that. I'm trying to think who would it be? Wouldn't be Captain America. I don't know if it'd be the Hulk at all. Trying to think, he'd probably be the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't Star-Lord. Oh yeah, he'd be Star-Lord. I'm not a big guy. He'd be Chris Pratt. Oh, absolutely. That would be so what do you call it? Pastrnak. Great. That's a kick-ass question. I love it. With Krejci gone, who gets the second A on the front of the sweater? Can it be Foligno, Hall, Pasta? That's a good question. What do you think? Who's the alternate captain?
Who was swapping it last year? So
I know it's between Marchand, Krejci, and if Krejci was hurt, I think Miller wore at one point. I think McAvoy probably wore it at one point. Hall maybe. I think
I would give it to McAvoy. I would give it to Marchand and McAvoy. Personally.
Yes, McAvoy. I actually would entertain Hall to a degree because you kind of want him to kind of be that leader. I know he's not, but maybe this will give him the opportunity to kind of grow into that role. It'd probably be McAvoy more than likely.
I just want someone on the blue line since there's so many young people.
Yeah.
Someone to have a leadership role in some capacity.
I completely agree. And actually, I saw an article recently, I think it was on NHL.com, talking about top, 5 to 10 defensemen in the league, and he wasn't mentioned. I'm like, what?
I know. I saw that. He wasn't in the top 10, and I was like, are you stupid?
Yeah, you got Hedman and so forth, and I'm like, all right, Charlie's got to be like 5th or 6th on this. And I'm like, what?
We actually just interviewed Scott Burnside, who was with The Athletic for Slapshot Sweethearts last week, and he said that McAvoy was his Norris Trophy vote.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, he got in a fight with Pierre LeBrun about it. He was like, why did you do that? And Scott Burnside was like, why are you all like oblivious to this?
I think a lot of those voting is like there's an agenda of some kind. I don't know why. Like, who was the Fox won it, right? From the Rangers.
Yeah, but the top 3 were Hedman, Fox, and who's the last one? Hedman was like the head scratcher because he had a bad season.
That's just because of his brand and who he is. That's just a name. That's all about names right there. But yeah, I mean, I thought Fox was good. I thought McAvoy was as good as Fox was. I mean, I don't know. Charlie McAvoy, he doesn't play. The Bruins are much worse. You could just tell. You remember the couple of games he missed last season? You're like, oh, they're in a world of hurt.
Well, that's why Fox looks so good because they do not have a good defense in New York. They have a pretty good offense. I mean, I think they're getting better, but Fox had incredible numbers, and McAvoy's numbers suffered a little bit more because he went from playing with Chara to playing with whatever Providence
But
player.
right, whatever, yeah, whatever hollow uniform you played with. No, again, I just can't believe he wasn't mentioned on that. Kind of blew my mind. So we our answer on that, Craig, was McAvoy. Let's see. Actually, I'm sorry, that was for Ben. All right, that one, I don't know what that means. So some of these like MK, okay. If the Bruins were an 80s movie, which movie would they be? These are great. It's not Better Off Dead, thank God. I don't know. So this is a good question too. Are you big into 80s movies at all? I know.
No, I'm not big into movies to begin with.
Oh, she's not big. So Shannon will opt out on this one. I will go with 80s movies. I mean, I just so many. I don't know, like maybe one of the maybe Christmas Vacation, because I could just see, you probably seen Christmas Vacation, right? I'm assuming you saw that. You could probably just see like Pasternak holding the tank to the hose like McQuaid did, and it says "shitter's full." You could see Pasta wearing the pajamas, being outside, being that guy. Chevy Chase's brother-in-law. So maybe Christmas Vacation. That's a great question. Places or legacy. Okay, as the team stands now, how do you think them faring back in that division? This is from Mark Muskie Guy. Well, dude, that's a great name. I'm sure that's not your real last name, but we'll roll with it, Muskie. I think the Tampa finishes better than the Bruins. I think, dare I say, Toronto may finish better than the Bruins. And I think the Bruins probably be third in that division. What do you think?
I think Florida will finish better than them.
Oh, I was thinking Florida too, but
I don't know. Well, because Tampa finished third in the Central.
I know. No, everybody forgets that, of course. But yeah.
So I don't know. And Toronto's always difficult to guess because they look good and then they play horrible. So I don't know how that's going to work. Again, there's 5 teams that can contend in that division, and I have no idea how they're going to rank in terms of how they're going to look after even though it's a shortened off season.
I'm going to hope to a degree some of the Bruins players playing the gauntlet they played last year, because that division was friggin' the toughest in hockey too, the one they were just in, right? Maybe that'll get them ready for this one. Because again, I think I ask you a question, top to bottom, what division was better? The one the Bruins played in last year, the makeshift one they put together, or the traditional one? Which one do you think was harder? I would say.
I think the upcoming one is going to be harder.
Well, because again, they're not going to be playing teams 9 times and all this stuff like they did.
Well, right, but I also, so they'll be playing different opponents. So realistically, they're not going to play Florida 8 times, but
right.
They're going to have to, in terms of rankings, they're going to have to rank higher. It's not going to be just the top 4.
Oh, that's right. I forget that changed too. I forget that. Yeah, I forget the whole division thing changed too. You're right. I forgot about that. Wow, everything's you got your mode. That was how old the Adams division back in the day hockey was. Top 4 in the division. Yeah. Completely forgot about that. Wow. Okay, so that changed everything. So I'll throw that question completely out. This was good from Brian Andrew. Do you think DeBust is going to bounce back this year? What do you think? I'm going to say.
So I have to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I make fun of him, because I always tell Flyers fans that they need to give Carter Hart the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, right.
So if I'm fighting for Carter Hart getting a second chance, I have to give Jake DeBrusk a second chance.
Well, I think he's on second, third, or fourth chances by now, right? After his second year, he hasn't done much of anything.
So I mean, I don't think it's going to be a monumental bounce back by any means, but if he does better than last year, it's something.
Well, give me Nick Ritchie numbers. Give me 15 goals, pal. I mean, come on. Can you do that at least? I mean, again, I was watching
anything more than 10, I'll accept.
Well, in 80 games, I hope that Gotti by accident gets 11 off his ass.
How many did he score last year? A dumb low amount.
5. I don't know. He had 5 more goals than me. And I was watching the old episode I taped back in February, and I was calling him out then. I mean, 4 weeks into the season, he's not looking good. And it just, remember he's benched a couple times. He had that 1 game spark, and we're like, oh, he's back. And then no, he's not. And it's just.
He had 5 goals in 41 games and 2 goals in the playoffs.
I know. And even that couple playoff games, right? Back-to-back games, we're like, maybe he's going to be the DeBrusk. Because if he netted 6 or 7 goals in that playoff, I think we kind of
I'd be fine.
You had 2 goals in the playoffs and 5 in the regular season. Oh my God, you had 7 the whole year. 7 more goals than I did. Here's another one. Do you think Charlie Cole will be able to go in that second line center role?
I think that's the only person that fits in the slot, which is scary. But
Or Seneca, but again, I don't. Coyle. So yeah, Coyle by de facto has to. I mean, especially the money they're paying him. Again, I know he's hurt. Everybody said didn't he have surgery this past offseason? I mean, he's pretty beat
Coyle?
up. Yeah, did he have it or no?
Oh, he might.
I know he's beat up. He was really beat up. I mean,
he might have. He re-signed though too. I mean, it wasn't a bad contract, but
right. Yeah, but again, everybody's like, you gotta, you're making the money, you gotta show something. He just looked off. So maybe, like you said, if he was that beat up and hurt, let's see how he does healthy. But if he's in the second line, we're in like late November and he's got like one goal on that line, because what's going to happen is, as we saw, those Smith and Hall need a good center. They need a playmaker. Coyle is not a Krejci. Let's be honest. Offensively, he's not. He's more of a mucker and stuff. He has some offensive skill, but he's not a Krejci. Okay, he's not like the magician. And we forget how bad, how much Krejci played on the power play too. That really helped their power play, and he's gone to that too. So that second, I think a lot's riding on. Can you believe we're having this conversation? Because how many years we're like, God, if you could only get some wings on the second line, then we got you some goddamn wings and you left. Like, what do you want? I mean, we finally got you.
I can't imagine being Taylor Hall when you get the call saying that David Krejci's leaving after you just re-signed.
That's what makes me really feel that it wasn't just a hockey decision. It was like my family bringing up my kids in a good environment decision. I really feel that way. Because why would you leave now? I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, from a hockey perspective, and they were going to sign him. I'm sure they would have gave him a decent, contract, 1 or 2 year deal, right? We'll see, man. It's just typical Bruins, right? We get close and they just can't get that one guy, or they can't sign this guy. This guy leaves and goes works at Chick-fil-A. What the hell are you doing? Like we just can't get there. It's it's maddening. But who knows? Faustino Giuliano. God, that's a great name. These are great names. Are these all your real names, people? Come on, these are great names. All right, this is true. This is more of a statement than a question, but this is a great point. The respect that Sharon Miller brought to the table, or toughness, I would have to also interject, it hasn't been addressed or replaced. That's true. I mean, Foligno a little bit, but losing Miller, he should have retired. I'm happy he's thinking about his health and his family because he needs to. I can't believe he came back the way he did anyway. But they don't really, Carlo to a degree is kind of a, and McAvoy on it's certain he has those big hits here and there, but they're not like thumpers all the time, right? They're not going in and beating people constantly. That's why they break it down, right? Who do you see being like a more physical presence, or who has to up their game to be that physical presence on the blue line?
On the blue line, I don't see it. I mean, Nick Ritchie and Trent Frederick, when they were in, both tried to do it on the third and fourth line respectively, which was good and exciting to see since no one was doing it. But
he's gone too. Ritchie's gone too up front.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the blue line, maybe Forber. I know that he had in Winnipeg, he's not a big production guy, but he had like the highest amount of hits in the league last season.
Yeah, I mean, let's hopefully, he can bring it. But I just, even Tenorti, I liked it, because he mucked it up, got in some fights, he's not the most skilled guy, but he was in there. He was a body that banged, and they let him go too. And I'm like, shit, we're gonna have a lot of.
He's a liability on the blue line, but he can hit something.
Right. So I mean, you give him a certain amount of minutes, but at least he brought that. So if you needed that guy to jump in, back in the day of the enforcers, like a Sean Thornton, what happened against Vancouver, we need just a guy that could change the game with a big hit. And I
think Foligno can step into that role. Again, it's not on the blue line, but I
hope so.
Yeah, I think that he'll bring that in some form.
We need him to be the guy in the crease, like mucking it up and causing havoc, like Richie did to a smaller degree. That's why it called me crazy, but that's why I always liked Char when they put him on the power play in the crease, because he was just a big body and he was just causing so much hell and chaos. And they just didn't they didn't go back to that, and they just didn't have that. You know what I mean? We're almost done with this, and we'll go. These some good questions. These some very creative questions. That's what happens. Talk to people for 3 months. They got a lot of creativity. What are your line combinations with what the team is? Harvey, this is a good one. We know the first line. Second line, I'm assuming we're putting Coyle in there, right?
Yeah.
All right, you tell me your third line, because I have no clue. Who's your third line?
Foligno.
Yep.
Uh,
Jake.
Yeah.
Ooh, good God, help us. Foligno, Jake. One of the guys they just signed, was it Nosek?
Yeah, probably Nosek.
Yeah. Oof, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, right. And then the fourth line is like whoever's left over.
The other guy they just signed.
The other guy, right? The other guy. Yeah, I keep forgetting them too. There was a guy from Vegas. There's another guy. They just, the names just don't jump out at me. I think that's just a complete depth thing. They need some depth. I mean, all across the board. Think about it. Jesus, when they lost forwards.
I don't think they're gonna pull Wagner, even though a lot of people want them to. So he'll probably be on the fourth line.
Yeah, Wagner. So Corrali's gone. Wagner's there. God, who's the kid we got from Buffalo at the center? And I completely forgot his damn name. Lazar. So all right. So you got probably a changing slot in the fourth line. I think the third and fourth lines are going to probably be interchangeable parts, right? You know what I mean? There's going to be a guy going up and down, see where they fit. But yeah, I just, if Krejci was here, I'd feel so much better about because Coyle would have been slotted down and Foligno, whatever. You know what I mean? Remember how they were so heavy at center and they're like, we got so many centers and all this. And, before
they had an extra one. I was like, they can get rid of DeBrusque now.
I know, oh God, makes me think of the Sagan trade again. Oh, imagine we had Sagan right now.
I literally remember where I was when they traded Sagan. It's
go ahead. You go. I do too. Go ahead. Where were you?
I was with my high school friends. We were watching the Avengers actually. And I didn't check my phone. And then I picked up my phone and I screamed. And they were like, what is wrong with you? And I said, what happened? They were like, who cares? And I was like, this is dire.
It's funny how certain things like this, these aren't even life-changing things, but you remember where you were. Like I was up in York, Maine with my family. My wife was actually 8 months pregnant. The AC shit the bed, the house we were staying at. So, she was not happy, as you can imagine. But we're in the backyard having beers, hanging out, whatever, brother-in-laws and stuff like that. And I get the text message. I don't know if it came up my phone from, news source of my buddies. That Sagan got traded. I must have screamed, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like I screamed it.
For
and then
Louis
I'm like,
Erickson.
And like, right. And all my we didn't really have any nieces and nephews, not too many, only one or two in the family by that point. But, then before the phone started, this was the 4th of July, right? It was close to it.
Yeah.
And I remember my phone blowing up and I remember texting each other and we're all angry. Everybody's angry, texting back. I'm like, are you kidding me? They traded for who are these guys? Erickson? Who is this dope? And then Frazier, and then
Riley Smith.
Riley. Wow, how that trade? Jimmy Hayes. Oh God, Jimmy Hayes.
Well, yeah. So then Riley Smith blossoms as soon as they get rid of him, and I was like, "Isn't that the Bruins' way? Like, let him go." And he's the assistant captain in Vegas.
Absolutely. Oh, good God, help us. Oh, I know he's doing good. He was a good little player. I mean, I think he got like 20 goals, right? He was serviceable.
Yeah, he was a great line mate with Bergeron and Marchand for a while.
We could use him right now. There's so many guys we could use. I mean, we could not use George. I can't believe Joe Thornton came back. Jeez, guy, come on. You and your beard needed to go. I mean, Florida, he could help. I mean, how many minutes is he going to get in Florida? But I'd take him. I mean,
Florida's excited to have him because they're like, oh, he trusts us to win a cup.
Yeah.
It was like a respect thing, I guess.
I guess like Ray Bork was with Colorado. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Sorry, they're not going to win a cup. Sorry to break it to you. There's another question. Then we're just going to go. I want to talk to you about the draft quick. Favorite Krejci memory. This is a good one. I'll let you go first. What's your favorite Krejci memory?
I mean, the cup is an easy one, but I mean, his play in the playoffs in general is always so outstanding. Like, he's a cog in the machine during the season, but as soon as you get to the playoffs, it's like, oh, thank God. So that's what stands out in my mind. Yeah,
for me, 11. And I remember I was in when they were playing the Flyers, right? I was in Puerto Rico at a user conference, like 100-person user conference. It was I was like working like 19, 20-hour days, whatever. And I remember watching the Philly series or listening to it as I'm working, whatever I could do to listen to it. So that series is when Krejci just exploded, like against Philly. And it just reminded you, because the prior year, as when they choked, Krejci broke his wrist and they were done. That was it. They were done. But when he, like that 7-2 game, he was just setting up people scoring. And then I remember, and I think this is almost the night of or the night before that they found Bin Laden. It was like within a day or two of each other. I remember Krejci scoring that goal in OT that they thought didn't go in. You know how it clinked in and out and anything going, and then before you know, everybody's like, "Shit, we won! All right, cool." And that was, to me, that was like what a moment, because he put them on his back, and he pretty much, they rode him for the rest of the playoffs. So that is, again, he had a lot of regular seasons that we weren't happy with, but great players show up at big times and high pressure moments, and he was that guy. And that's why I'm thinking we're going to miss him big time. All right, so these questions were kick ass. I think the one with the '80s movie. Well, I have to mull this over. I can't tell who's going to win on this one. I'll let them know off the camera, kind of thing. But what I do want to do is just a couple of things. I mean, we hit upon most of what we're going to talk about anyway, which is great. I think maybe we kind of do this for our things in the future, our agendas in the future. So the draft. Do you know anything about Fabian Lysell?
I don't.
Okay.
Except for the fact that Bruins Twitter exploded when they drafted him, which in a bad way. And I was like, because he's small. Yep. And I was like, Brad Marchand's small. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and Don Sweeney has a historically bad record in drafting. So the fact that they picked someone that Bruins fans aren't pleased about is so unsurprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, I watched his highlight reel, and he does have a shot. He does have a motor. But it always seems like the Bruins, when the game changes, it went from a big lumbering, big players and all that stuff, right? And then the Bruins are always late to the party to change. Do you know what I mean? Now it's like speed. They're like, all right, we'll get the speedy guys. And they're like, well, they're kind of going to bigger guys again. Now they're getting, the smaller guys. So I just would love if we picked a guy that could actually give us something the first year. I mean, I all these projects are just, the only guy that came up, pretty much quick that I remember is Pastrnak, right? And McAvoy, to a degree. Those are two guys.
And they both played in Providence for a year.
Yeah. So but for the Bruins, having them for a year is quick, right?
Well, it's just, and they just had to hire a new Providence coach.
Yep.
Because Jay Leach went to Seattle.
Left. Right.
And I didn't love the hire that they made. So I don't know why they're picking more projects.
I don't either. And I don't know how much you know about the farm, but there's not a lot of reinforcements coming. I don't know. If they have a guy like a Craig Smith go down or a Coyle go down, they're fucked. I mean, I don't see who can come up and really, because this happened last year in spurts, and none of these younger guys did anything with the opportunities, right? So Taylor Hall, what do you expecting of Taylor Hall? What would you consider a good season for Taylor Hall?
At least 20 goals. I mean, they already signed him for $1 million more than I wanted them to.
Right.
Which is whatever. I'm glad we have him. I think it's going to be hard when he doesn't have a good center next to him. If Charlie Coyle has a good season, I think Taylor Hall has a good season. But Taylor Hall looked incredible, and then he got to the playoffs and he went dead silent.
He disappeared.
After the first round. I don't even think he scored. So, no. I mean, it's going to really come down to the chemistry on that line, because Taylor Hall looks horrendous if he doesn't have chemistry on the ice with him.
Yeah, I agree. And Craig Smith, I mean, I know he had that groin injury, right? So groins are always tricky, right? Let's see how that heals up. So what else we got? I mean, my outlook for the season. So we can do if you'd like, we can do our preseason picks, and we could do who's going to be in the cup. Again, I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to the rest of the league, but one team I actually want to ask you about before we go. I always said, if the Bruins did not exist, my team would be the Chicago Blackhawks. Okay. That would be my team, because I went to Chicago for a Bruins game in the original six. I love the feel. That stadium was great, and the respect of the fans for each other, especially original six. And beside Patrick Kane being an asshole, I like him as a player. He's phenomenal in Taves. And when they had Duncan Keith, and when we played them in 13, I mean, they were a fucking wagon, right? And then they did what most teams do, like the LA Kings did, and the Blackhawks. They got really good and they got really shitty, and then they're getting really good again. So what do you think about what Chicago has done in the offseason with getting the Flower and getting Seth Jones? What do you think? Do you think how they look? And you think we see playoffs for them this year? Or?
I am confused by that. I knew they were in the running for Seth Jones, which they obviously got. The Marc-Andre Fleury trade, I think, was more of a trade for Vegas because they needed cap space than for Chicago, because they got nothing. Vegas got nothing for him in return. They got I think a pick. And they didn't even tell him he was getting traded until he found out on Twitter.
Yeah. Nice.
So, I mean, that's, disrespectful, but I think they'll be good, but I don't know how marginally they'll be, because their goaltending situation after they benched Malcolm Subban was not that bad. Kevin Lankinen was not that bad.
Right.
And Seth Jones is obviously good, but he just played on the Blue Jackets and he wasn't, a game changer.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're about to make a deep cup run like they did in years past.
Yeah, I don't think they're there yet, but I do wish the Bruins kind of adopted what the Kings and the Blackhawks did. But Jeremy Jacobs, he just wants to be relevant. Doesn't mean they're going to win shit. They just want to be relevant and getting people in the.
They won't enter a full rebuild.
No, they never will. No, they never will. So we will be caught in the quagmire for the rest of our lives, people. This is what's going to be with the Bruins. They're going to be good enough for 2 rounds, and then that's it. And then it is what it is. This is what, beside the outliers in 11-13 night, I mean, this is what the Bruins have been since I've been watching them. They'll make the playoffs. They might win a round, but that's it. I mean, that's all. I mean, I don't want that. I kind of want another cup before I die. I got less time on the clock than you. So, you know what I mean? Maybe in the afterlife, you'll be like, Joe, they won 2 more, man, after you kicked it. Well, thank Jesus. All right, good. All right, let's go what we really like to talk about. And whenever you do get up here, you have to, like I said, come with a truckload of alcohol.
Well, I'm coming in 2 weeks, so I'll bring you something.
All right, cool. We'll have to meet up. What you drinking? I've been doing a good amount of drinking over the summer. I think we all have to again. But so I'm gonna go, Shannon. What have you been drinking? What would you recommend? It could be hard liquor or beer or White Claws or whatever. What would you recommend?
Well, although the DC weather refuses to dip below 90 degrees, my mental capacity has entered fall. So I
bought pumpkin
officially
beer
cracked my first pumpkin beer yesterday of the season. I don't even know. I love pumpkin beer, so I just pick up whatever pumpkin beers at the store. And
have you ever had? I just bought this yesterday. Actually, have you ever had Southern Tier Imperial Pumpkin?
No, but I'll look for it.
Basically, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is basically apple pie, pumpkin pie in a glass.
They're perfect. I mean, they give me a wicked headache, but they taste great.
The trade-offs are you gonna have pumpkin spice or headaches? I'm going pumpkin spice all day.
Right.
Yeah. So I just bought some yesterday. So they're already in the Costco, right? Already Halloween.
Oh yeah, Harris Teeter. They're all over Harris Teeter. I went to the liquor store yesterday, and it's a small one, but they let me bring my dog, so I went in and they didn't have any, and I was pissed. So I just got like normal beer. And my boyfriend walked in and he was like, "Oh, I got you pumpkin beer," and I was like, "Thank God."
It's like a dessert beer. I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes you just want to have I love IPAs, but they're bitter, and and sometimes you just need to change it up. But the beer that my summer beer, honestly, and people are going to be like, "Really, Joe? Wow, you're slumming it, Joe." I love Pacifico. I love for like a Mexican beer.
I love Coors Light. Like I'll just drink Coors Light all day.
Coors Light. I mean, I used to be a Coors Light person.
Or not Coors Light, Corona, because Corona, the same as Pacifico.
Yeah. I don't know if you had Pacifico before, but I think Pacifico is better than Corona. So just the reason why I ever got on the Pacifico train, this is way back in the 16 years ago. We were in Arizona, and down in like the Southwest, what they do is kind of like, I guess almost like a margarita. They they give you the beer on ice, and then they actually salt the rim of the glass, and it's just like nothing you've ever had. Last I went to a Mexican restaurant near my house, and they had the lime in the top of the ball, and then they put this little napkin cape on it. It was pretty cool, a little napkin cape. And I don't know, I'm talking about food now, but I don't know if you like churros. Do you like churros?
Yes.
Shannon, this place they give you this mini churro cart. Like a vending cart you'd see at a stadium, like a little bit.
Just churros?
Yeah, 4 churros, and then they have the little sauces that go into little compartments on this little cart. It's like, again, I'm a simple mind, and a simple thing amuse me. But I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this thing's so cool. It'd be good for shots of alcohol too. You could put little shots in there as well.
Do you make a request? Like, I'm sorry, I don't need the dipping sauce. Just 4 tequila shots, please.
Please. But yeah, Pacifico for summer beer, and then for my crafties, I have to go a little crafties. I went up to Acadia National Park, which is amazing up in Maine. And on the way home, I hit Bissell Brothers in Portland. Yeah, it's as advertised. They're that good, so would be that. So, wow. Okay. We almost did 50-minute show already, which is great. I thought the questions were great, doing that flow and just kind of backfilling whatever we didn't hit. So Shannon, thank you for joining me yet again.
As always.
It was a pleasure. And I can't wait to get the season going and have some kind of normalcy, maybe have an 82 game schedule with the grace of God. Please plug your socials.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Twitter. It's swalshy63. And then you can find my podcast at Sweethearts Pod on Twitter. And you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple. If you just search Slapshot Sweethearts, we are there. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've been doing interviews with people throughout the NHL all off season. So go check out that playlist. We've got some cool names on there. But otherwise, thanks again for having me.
Billy Jaffe, you have to go on their show, Billy Jaffe. If you're listening, Billy Jaffe, you have to go on their show. Because everybody loves you, Billy Jaffe. Again, one of the best when you have him on, I will ask you, is this a top 5 podcast for you for guest wise? And you're going to say yes. The dude's hilarious. But anyway, again, I want to thank Shannon. I want to just go through my socials as well. Big Bad Bruins Nation on the book of Zuckerberg. Also on the Twitter machine, Big Bad Bruins 88, Big Bad Bruins on IG, and Big Bad Bruins Nation on IG. And then did I forget one? Big Bad Bruins Nation on the YouTube, which this will be posted. So I appreciate it. Thanks again. And we will talk to you during the regular season.